Welcome to another Motortown post-event race commentary. Today we got the TWL's Micro Machines event. So this is Panther versus Coma, everybody using the same inline-4 150 horsepower engine. Everything else is up to you, turbocharging, wide body kit, spoiler, etc. I mean, turbocharging is pretty much a given here because that's just a straight up power increase. But yeah, two races, 15 minutes each, and both on very tight and twisty city tracks. So let's go, let's see how it all went, and yeah, let's see what I can do here. So starting pretty far to the back, but getting off the line really well, so could be the start of something great, but then again, first corner, I just missed my braking point a bit. Oops, now I'm fully in last. Somebody deployed a smoke screen in front of me, so I don't know what really happened there, but I decided to just stay out of it. Might have been for the better for everybody. There we got Zeki and Chess in front, then Psychic Eagle, Nightingale, Luke Bray, Neri, and then me. But immediately getting back in our position, so yeah, this is gonna be a bit of back and forth here. With how close everybody is to each other, it's easy to capitalize on somebody else's mistake. So there's gonna be quite a bit of shuffling around going to happen. And yeah, just trying to not do anything too weird, too stupid, and also following the route here. It's a complicated route, very complex track, and the checkpoints aren't all that easy to see sometimes. Like with this one, we are supposed to go to the left here, but you see it really late, and that's also the case for a few others. And yeah, a bit of a desync between Neri and Nightingale, so I took another place. Now behind two Comas, which are also going to have a bit of a snuggling moment there. Psychic Eagle definitely having some issues with his Coma and keeping the control. I mean, who am I to talk? I'm not even able to get the braking zone right and have to resort to lines like this. Didn't really gain me much, but it also kept me from losing positions, so yeah, worked out quite well. Bit of a weird turn here, and I'm even going to get overtaken by Neri on the outside. If I didn't step on the gas too early, I could have maybe defended, but yeah, almost spun out there, so that's not too great. The car overall is a bit more stable than I remembered it from back in the day when I last used it. But it's still quite a handful here and there. Yeah, now stuck behind Psychic Eagle. So the thing for me is, I participate in the first set of this event. Basically, we are running the same events twice on different time slots, so anybody who wants to can hopefully participate. And I used the Coma in the first one. Getting pushed a bit wide here. Think that was a bit of a desync moment, otherwise I don't know why I got pushed that hard. But yeah, I'm losing two positions here. The problem is, when I set up the Coma for this event, I didn't buy any wheel spacers and wide body kits in the first go around. And I'm immediately getting back another position here. And I just found that the Coma drove really weird, and I think Psychic Eagle is having similar issues here. But yeah, now we are getting into some issues with the track, I would say. The Coma eating a bit of a wall there. I'm getting distracted and completely miss the turn. This is such a hard route to follow if you are not familiar with it. Like that checkpoint, for example, is also a bit hard to see early enough. I think Psychic almost went to the left there, and Luke turned in there taking the bait. So that's an easy place for me to get, but yeah. It's a bit weird, needs some work to make the route a bit more clear. And honestly, while all the corners are kinda okay, there isn't really any problem with any of them. I think some of it should be cut regardless, just to give a bit more space here and there. It's so hard overtaking, even when you have something like this happen with Psychic, who really has some issues with car right now, keeping it under control and everything. I'm more consistent, I'm a bit faster, I'm also just, yeah, taking advantage of every bit of road and dirt here. And I still have a hard time overtaking. So yeah, the track doesn't really lend itself to overtaking, even if a person in front is a good bit slower. But yeah, overall, from my experience, this is all down to the coma not being set up correctly here. With white body and wheel spacers on the second race, it went quite a bit better for me. But yeah, first time I could keep control of my coma in the corners, but just on the straights, any single bit of correction, it would just go off in that direction, and it was kinda painful. Bit of a risky turn there, barely touching the checkpoint still, but it worked out. But I still just have to get past Psychic Eagle there. Yeah, getting close over here. Not going for it. Giving each other space, but yeah, there just wasn't really any space for me to accelerate out of this turn. This one, however, Psychic just overcooked it a bit, and I got a smooth line through here, and slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and therefore I get another position back. So yeah, the coma is easy to kinda mess up and make it really hard to drive. Wheel spacers seem to stabilize the thing, but I also added a lot of aero stuff, so yeah. Right now that thing is driving really well, and we are going to see it in the second race. But as it is, I think for this one we are pretty much stuck in our final position here. I'm definitely not catching up to Neri. I think the gap is going to even wider over the rest of the race. But right now I'm also kinda safe against the people behind me. So the last thing I want to talk about in this race is the transmission. That's been one of my major issues with this entire thing, because the only 5-speed transmission that this game has for regular cars right now, it kinda sucks a bit. The first gear is set really low. It's a short gear, and you can use it quite well for when you start a race. Just jump off the line real quick, get into second, but from that point on, as long as you are still going, you don't want to go back down into first gear because it's just way too short. The second gear compared to that is just awkwardly long here, so it just really doesn't work too well. I really wish we had another 5-speed transmission with regular manual clutch. And same weight as on this one. That would be so much better, but as it is right now, with only this option, it doesn't really work well for racing. We need a longer first gear on that. That would be really nice. But yeah, as you can see right now, my position is only kinda hardening itself. I mean, there isn't really too much to do against the gap that I have to Neri. Over there we saw him for a moment, basically being on a completely different part of the track, and I still have to go around this back part right here. But the people behind me, despite sometimes being on the same percentage, it's a good gap, and I'm doing quite well in terms of my pace. So from this point on, we can really just skip ahead and watch the end of the race. And yeah, little surprise, Neri won this thing. caught back up to Chess and Zeki and overtook both of them, with only a few seconds between first and third position. So GG, very tight race on that front. I'm quite a bit further behind. And yeah, there wouldn't really be much for me to show you guys in terms of the first place action happening here. I'm a bit far away from that. But yeah, coming back around here towards the end, and that's it. Took me about a minute and 20 seconds longer. And here we go into the second race now. This time around I took the Koma. And we are now doing a Gang Young track. Overall, with how it works out, it feels pretty similar. So a lot of tight turns, a lot of twisty sections, and also a very long track. Same amount of laps as the first one. But yeah, we also have a bit of a starting delay here, and this is something that I don't know if this is just me being a bit annoyed by it, but I feel that we are sometimes wasting a bit too much time for these races, getting them started. Like, everybody is at the starting grid right now, but it's just gonna take a while longer to get going. For example, the first race started 12 minutes after the official start of the event. So everybody is supposed to come in a bit before that and maybe have like a few minutes wait time to really get started, really get set up, but it often just ends up taking a bit too much time, and I've been trying to get that all sorted out a bit, just getting people to start a bit better and not wait around for too long. But I would really like to know with stuff like that, is it just me being a bit impatient, or is this generally just something that should be a bit better? Because for me, sitting around like that, it just feels like wasting time. And usually I cut it out of the videos. This is why I upload my entire perspective only with the races at the starting line and not just, hey, it's 5, 6 p.m. whatever. Racing event start time, and here we go, looking at the entire thing. Because sometimes for half an hour of racing, there is half an hour of wait time after the official event start. And for me, it's been a bit grating, honestly. Anyways, yeah, we are in the middle of the race now. Should maybe talk about that a bit. But yeah, currently Psychic Eagle in the Panther this time around, first place. Chess third place, second place, me third place, right here. Neri pretty much right behind me with some other people right there. We are pretty much all very close together. And yeah, the Koma being front wheel drive is something that you can push quite differently to the Panther. So we can likely see a bit of a difference with how I drive this thing. It's something that you can really kick quite hard and it will still perform well and not just spin out on you. And I think overall the Koma has been the faster of the two cars here. Yeah, Psychic Eagle going off a bit, and that's giving a place to both Chess and me. But yeah, I immediately messed it up by not getting the turn right. I must have forgotten that we were supposed to turn right there. Again, similar story to what I talked about in the first race. It's all a bit rough around the edges. But yeah, Chess slowly getting away. Got two Panthers in second and third place fighting for it. And I'm just going to try and follow them for now. And yeah, second lap. From the first set I learned my lesson that I have to be really slow here, otherwise it's just gonna lift up my back and send me off into the field. Yeah, got a position against Psychic, but overtaken again rather quickly. But I think that was a missed checkpoint right there. Very aggressive on the line and maybe a bit too much of that. So yeah, I got back into third. But we'll see how long that lasts. Yeah, I'm really overcooking it sometimes, and now the car just threw itself off the track. That was really too aggressive on my part. Trying to make sure I don't get too much into Psychic's line right there, trying to rejoin. Gotta be a bit careful. But this is now also a part where we can talk about desync, because desync is gonna be the driving factor for quite a bit of this race now. And it's desync between Psychic and me. I'm pretty sure that I'm nowhere near Psychic on their screen for most of this. But on my screen I'm right on their tail for the next lap or so. But first up, I just cannot get past. There is just too much twisty stuff going on. When you try to go off the line here in order to overtake, it slows you down too much, and most overtakes are undone on that fact alone. So unless Psychic makes a big mistake, I'm really pressed for an overtaking chance right here. And to be clear, I am faster here, but that just doesn't entitle me to get that position. I need to get the overtake, and I'm going to try and make this work without messing up any of us. Spoiler warning, that might not be how this goes, but yeah, right now I'm just on his back. I could have maybe tried to go a bit further to the outside, but I just didn't have it in me right there. Got the outside here. Got given basically zero space on that whole front, which I think once again points to this being a desync situation. I don't think Psychic would be driving like this if he knew where I am right here. Like, this is not the amount of space that you give somebody who is right to your side. And that's going to be an even bigger indicator that there's some weird stuff going on here. And yeah, this was honestly on me. This could have been avoided. But yeah, I went a bit too far to the right, touched grass again, and it just sucked me in and right off the road. But yeah, if you look at how long it takes me to get back to Psychic, you can see that I'm definitely the faster guy here. At least in this instance. Usually I would say that maybe on average we are about even, but with how the things work out here, yeah, on this one I got a bit of an advantage, likely also due to the car. And yeah, almost got it, almost got the overtake. But with this line for that turn, it was just really not working out. And this is exactly where it's clear that there is something weird going on. Because I was fully leaning on Psychic's car and no reaction from him. So yeah, couldn't really push him out or anything, and I knew at that point that was the case. So yeah, could just fully lean on him, and on his screen I was nowhere near him most likely, so that's why it didn't really affect him in any way. I had no idea what I did on that other turn. There was a bit weird going so far on the inside. Okay, that could have been another chance, but I was already too close and couldn't really capitalize on that. Just had to slow down a bit too much to not run into Psychic right there. But yeah, this is so tough. So few overtaking opportunities, really hard to get past somebody. So yeah, I'm trying my best. But finding that gap is really tough, especially trying to not mess up everything with all the desync going on. But I think this is where it's finally happening, and listen to Psychic. Yeah, that is once again desync. And I'm pretty sure I completely murdered him on his screen. I'm just... On mine I was in the clear. And honestly, if this was a GTA racing, we had some rules in the community, I would have had to stop for that and let him pass again. In Motortown we don't have these rules, and while I didn't like this in any capacity, I think going back and letting him pass again and then starting the entire thing again, it's just... it wouldn't really have helped anything. So yeah, it sucked that it happened this way. It sucked that I got stuck behind him due to the desync for so long. Because I think if he saw me coming with where I was on my screen, things would have gone a bit differently on that part as well. But yeah, right now it kinda is what it is, so yeah. I took that position, I kept it, and now I'm just going and driving without anybody in my front right now. Just having some free air and trying to make the best of it by going into the grass again. But yeah, it's pretty much the same story as before. The people in front of me are very far away. On the map we can already see Neri coming in to the right there. Chess is right ahead, Saki pretty much as well. And Psychic behind me is just going to be losing a bit more ground towards me, since, I mean, with what you saw here up until now, it's pretty clear that I'm in the faster car now and being able to get the better lap times. Going back around on that hairpin, and yeah, overall this is now working decently well. Not entirely sure if I could make the car handle any better from this point on. It's still very twitchy and can easily break out. It feels like it has a mind on its own. But overall I'm also able to get decently fast times with it, and for the most part it is working out. So it's okay, but it certainly has a bit of a character here. Yeah, when I go into sidewalks like this, I sometimes don't really know what I can do about it. It feels like if I try and correct and go off it again real quick, it's just gonna be screwing me over instead. So usually if I'm on the sidewalk, as long as I'm not running into anything or missing a checkpoint, it's sometimes better to just stay on there for a moment. Just go with the flow instead of trying to overcorrect it and screw yourself over in that moment. But yeah, I'm slowly winning ground, and I don't think there's anything more happening here. So let's move ahead by a little bit, and as we can see, the first few people are already winning. a bit more of a gap between them. But yeah, I'm also coming around to my finish here. Psychic Eagle is still behind me, but yeah, a decent ways away. And that's the finish line right ahead. So here we go. Got the finish. I also had a little apology to Psychic after the race. I mean, there wasn't really much I could do in the moment. Didn't feel great driving on while all of that other stuff was happening. But once again, just going back behind him, with some of these cases, it feels like you're just asking for the same thing to happen again. Because it's almost unavoidable unless you're just pacing behind the other guy and staying there. So yeah, not really how I wanted the whole thing to go, but I don't know how much different that could have gone. But yeah, that's it for this event. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time. As always, have a good one and bye bye.